The article I chose for my second article critique was found in the Early Childhood Education Journal, and it was entitled Using Music to Support the Literacy Development of Young English Language Learners. As many of you know, our demographics of our schools are changing drastically. Many students are coming from different cultures. I've got many Hispanic students and even Asian students, most of which speak either limited or no English at all, especially at the kindergarten level, where even communication on paper is very difficult. They're having difficulty reading at that age. So even having the culture, the gap where they can speak limited to no English, their ability to write is very limited, and the ability to read is very limited. So it's a very difficult age group to teach to. This article was not presented as a formal research study. However, it did provide many techniques and activities that can be used in a regular education classroom as well as a music education classroom to help improve a student's literacy development. The article started off with a little anecdote that I want to read here. It said, while waiting for the bus, a 5-year-old kindergarten student was caught in the rain hopping under the rain spout with his blue and yellow umbrella. When asked by his mother, "What are you doing?" the child calmly responded, "I'm listening to the music." This little anecdote serves a portion to say that children hear sounds and hear music much differently than adults do. Even raindrops are very different to children than they are to adults. Adults, we don't really stop and smell the roses much like children do. So when we are hearing different sounds like rain, it's just rain to us. But to children, you might hear different pitches or different rhythms to the rain, so it can be music to their ears. Howard Gardner, who developed the theory for multiple intelligences, said that the musical intelligence is the first intelligence to emerge in a young learner. We need to really be particular to that and focus our curriculum and our development of our students to that. If students are listening to music and hearing rhythms and hearing sounds and melodies at a very early age, even the kindergarten or preschool age, their literacy development, their reading and their writing skills are going to improve vastly than those students that might not be exposed to those kinds of things. The authors of this article provided quite a few techniques for activities to support music and literacy in the classroom. They gave suggestions for songs to teach language skills. Um, that's a really strong focus, especially at the kindergarten age, kindergarten and first grade. Language skills, being able to speak, being able to write, being able to read, those kinds of things are really important at that age. They gave an example of Mary Had a Little Lamb to develop the student's L sound, little lamb. Row, row, row your boat to develop the R sound, row, row, row. Songs can also be used to help compare words that might not look the same, but they could sound the same. They gave the example of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, in that words that rhyme like R and star, they don't look the same. However, they can sound very similar. Or high and sky. They gave a great website to find some more resources for students to teach, or for teachers to use for their students to teach these language skills. The compound words, work out the letter sounds, hands up for letter sounds, idioms, and then the vowel wrap. I think that would really curtail to a student. If you're talking about vowels, that might turn them off to it. They don't really want to or care about learning about the vowels. But when you say vowel rap and you present the vowels in a rap format, it totally gets them engaged, and you're talking their language now. Especially today, when they hear different songs on the radio and they're hearing rap songs on the radio, that's really what they want to hear in their music class. So if you're able to connect the music that they're hearing on the radio and the music that they can hear in the music classroom, even if it's educational, the vowel song, the vowel rap, that's very beneficial for those students. Even songs like that are good for just even conversational English, colors, everything has a shape. Hello, I'm hungry. Sit down, stand up. Those kinds of things are good for students that are English language learners, because they need to learn the conversational English. They need to learn those kinds of things, and if we're able to repetitively do those activities, they're going to catch on much quicker than they would if they were not exposed to that. Even the authors of this article give suggestions for teaching new songs. They say that it's a great idea to be repetitious in your practicing of new songs. ELL students need that repetition. If they're hearing you guys, the whole class, doing a repetitious song, going back and repeating itself over and over, they're able to catch on and play with the class. Um, it's when you're teaching a new song for these students, you want to make sure that you play the song in the background over several days, so that the students of all different types hear the melodic structure of the piece, hear how it's supposed to go, and that when they hear it to learn the song, they're not hearing it for the first time. You want to teach children the chorus first. This is like an anchoring point. The children need to be able to have that anchoring point, so that when the teacher is singing the verse, the students, when the chorus comes back in, the students are able to catch on to that and sing that very well. You also want to sing along with a recording. This is really important, because if students are not able to use a quality, or to have a quality recording to sing along with, they're not going to be as confident in their singing. So having that there, and with the students that aren't as comfortable singing yet, having that there so that the students are able to get more comfortable over time, over the repetitious times that you do it. Even using a lined poster paper to draw out the song, the format of the song, a visual representation of different parts of the song, the verse or the chorus, is really important for the English language learners, because they might need symbols to know what's happening in the song, because they might learn better with pictures than they would with words or saying things. I know a lot of music educators like to teach one phrase at a time, small chunks, and then putting it all together. This is really important as well. And then if the song has movements or actions, really incorporating those movements or actions before you start incorporating the words, so that the students are comfortable with the actions and that they can really get into that before they start learning the words and having to memorize those words. The authors also give a couple of techniques to develop reading fluency, and that's a very important thing, especially kindergarten. Every morning from 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning, I work with a kindergarten class on reading fluency. We're basically developing how to say words, sounding those words out, reading small children's books, tracking along with their finger. So this developing a reading fluency is really important nowadays. They give some suggestions like paired or partner reading, which is where you've got two people, and one person is a much stronger fluent reader than the other, and that person reads a sentence, and then the other partner repeats back what they said. So it's just working off the partnership, how to say a sentence, how to say those words. Echo reading is another one, where one person reads the sentence aloud with proper intonation and phrasing, and then their partner just reads that back the exact same way, so with proper phrasing, and even experimenting with that phrasing and intonation. Maybe the pitch of the words need to go up, and the partner will replicate that. Um, Another one is choral reading, which is really great for ELL students, and it's really important that for ELL students that the reading material is age appropriate, and that it might be the reading level might be slightly above their independent reading level at that time. This is when the teacher reads several times, a passage over several times. There's that repetitious thing again. And the students are able to pick up on the different words and different sentences that you're saying, so that soon they're able to do it independently. The authors give a great chart on this article. It's examples of children's song-based literature selections, and it's got it separated by authors and year, title, and even a brief summary of what that song is focusing on. For example, they give it a song of Old MacDonald, a very, very simple children's tune, but the brief summary of it says that we're focusing on the vowels, A, E, I, O, U, and even onomatopoeia. If that comes into the curriculum, using that song to talk about onomatopoeia is a really great idea. One of the last things that the authors talked about was creating musical instruments with students. ELL students, even though they might not be able to speak our language very well at the beginning of the school year, or read very well, it's important that we're giving them opportunities to try and build their fluency and their literacy. And another way to do that is creating a musical instrument. The article says that you can use balloons to make maracas, so you can put different beads and feathers inside the balloon, blow up the balloon and tie it, and then use that as a maraca. The students will have to then, you don't want that to be the stopping point, because you want the students to then describe what kind of sound they're making with it and how they made that instrument, so that they're developing their ability to speak what they've done, so that they're not just making an instrument and they can't describe what they've done. You want to be able to build that, model it for the students and build that up so that they're able to discuss with proper fluency and proper, even writing skills. This might be something that they could write out. How did you develop your instrument? How did you make your instrument? And what kinds of sounds does that instrument make? And this is really important for ELL students because they can make the instrument, and we want to be able to have them describe what they're doing. Um, this article was a great example of um, techniques, not necessarily research. It did incorporate many research-based practices. They have a very extensive references list, but even children's literature that was cited. But this is a great article to use to improve student literacy, reading and writing skills, speaking skills, saying letters, saying words. I think that for me, when I'm gearing my action research project toward music literacy in the how can music improve music? How can music improve literacy in the classroom? This article gives some great examples of how that can be done. I'm looking forward to trying some of these techniques in my classroom and seeing if that improves some of the ELL students' abilities to speak in our class, because you want them to be fully inclusive. You want them to be included in the activities that you're doing. So I'm really looking forward to some of these activities. And that's that. Thank you very much.